Hello everyone, good Monday morning out there to you. This is a long-range weather forecast video here brought to you by Weather on the Go. So definitely, if you haven't already, everybody, definitely, drop the like down below as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel. Definitely helpful as well to try and get me closer to 300 subscribers. I definitely appreciate it. Again, you guys were amazing on the live stream yesterday. I definitely plan on live streaming today and tomorrow here for all the severe weather and kind of a weather discussion as well. First off here, we're going to look at the tropical here side of things as well as we have a lot of development here starting to begin across portions of the northern Gulf. The National Hurricane Center does give this area here a 30% chance of development here in the next 5 days from the Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama coast, as well as the northwestern Florida coast here as well. And you can see that here there's kind of a frontal boundary washing out across this area here. A lot of rainfall has been, a very unsettled pattern across this area in the last couple of days, and that will only continue as we head towards, the early portion of this week and in towards the late week here as well. But here, generally talking about how much moisture we're talking about here and how much rainfall we could expect with this. Again, a lot is still up in the air about this here system developing. Again, this could develop into a tropical depression. This could develop into a tropical storm or even a hurricane here potentially. But right now, it looks to be just here what is known right now. And it looks to be here more of a rainmaker more than anything else here. So right now, this is kind of the European weather forecast model, the ECMWF is that we look at here. And you can definitely see higher rainfall potential here is what this model is showing here across southern portions of Alabama, southern Mississippi, and Louisiana. Also here into the northwest Florida coast here, we could have areas of Panama City over towards Mobile and even towards New Orleans approaching that 6 to 10 inch mark for rainfall, at least on this model run, with some heavy rainfall extending up toward near the Atlanta area and then up there here along the the outer banks there of the Carolinas as well. Now let's look here at another weather forecast model here. This is the GFS or the American model. Again, this pushes it a little farther south, and the rainfall is also a little farther off to the west as well across southern portions of Louisiana, again toward the New Orleans area, and then getting over there towards the Houston area as well. Again, a little farther south, which means a lot of the heavier rainfall will occur over the northern Gulf, so that will be something to watch. Again, Florida still gets the heavy rainfall in this model run, but it looks like here the GFS is kind of shifting it a little farther to the west. And then kind of looking at another kind of more accurate weather model for this as well. This is the UK Met. This is another good weather model to look at. This is actually very bullish on the rainfall across portions of Mississippi, southwestern Alabama, and then right down toward the New Orleans region and even over the open waters, showing rainfall amounts anywhere from 8 to 12 plus inches across this area. So that is something to watch as well. Again, this area is very favorable here for some development as well. Here you can see the bright pinks and reds here. That's a very favorable environment here for these storms to kind of thrive if they do develop over, the open waters of the Gulf. So we'll definitely have to watch it over the next several days to see if we can get a good grasp on things here with the models kind of converging on one solution as well. Turning over here to the Eastern Pacific Basin, we do have Hurricane Darby. That is, it was actually previously Tropical Storm Darby, and now is Hurricane Darby. That is spinning over the open waters here. I can show you that on the satellite. Very well-defined satellite imagery here of Hurricane Darby right now. Very, like you see a little bit of a eye wall there developing. Very compact system, so that is something to watch. You can see all the whites here around the center here of the eye wall starting to form. That is actually the convection, or what we call thunderstorms, and that is starting to kind of revolve around the eye wall. So that is actually a pretty powerful system right now. Just a kind of a Category 1 hurricane. You can see just maximum sustained winds down here around 75 miles an hour. It's moving rather quickly off to the west around 17 miles per hour, and it looks to stay at hurricane status all the way through the middle of the week. So that is something to watch. But as it moves over the cooler waters in the Eastern Pacific, moving towards portions here of the Central Pacific, we'll start to see this weekend toward a tropical storm and then to tropical depression status by that time. And again, you can see it here, very compact, small compact system across portions of the Eastern Pacific Basin. And then off to the east, we're watching another wave here. You can see that here reflected on the satellite imagery, and that is actually here something we're watching as well. 50% chance of development. You can see all the kind of warmer and cooler waters kind of mixed here in the Eastern Pacific Basin. So these systems still have some energy to work with as they move across this area. So that is something to watch. I do expect the Eastern Pacific to start to quiet down, I think, toward the end of July, but still remain active here, however, through that time. So we'll definitely have to watch that as well. So moving back here onto land, we're watching a cold front move across portions of the Midwest here in the southern Great Lakes. Ahead of that, you have a lot of heat out there. We got temperatures well into the hundreds here in most of Texas, Oklahoma, southern Kansas, into portions of the Ozarks here. St. Louis area will be probably in the mid 90s. You have the upper 80s to near 90, all the way up into the Ohio Valley, and that will fuel the severe thunderstorm threat across this area. We got a marginal to even a slight risk for severe weather across southern portions there of lower Michigan, getting into northwest Ohio, much of north central Indiana, around the Chicagoland area, the Gary, Indiana area, the Fort Wayne area, and then getting down into central Illinois, around the Peoria, Illinois area, Champaign, Urbana, Bloomington, Normal, all these areas. And then that marginal risk will extend farther to the west here across portions here just south of the Kansas City metro, getting down towards portions there of Wichita, and then back into southeastern portions of Colorado and northeastern New Mexico as well. We also do have kind of a lower end tornado risk across these areas as well, especially into eastern and northeastern Illinois, north central Indiana, northwest Ohio, and then southern and central portions there of lower Michigan, just west of Detroit. These areas here, Fort Wayne, Gary, South Bend, Chicago, all these areas definitely could be in that 2% tornado risk here for today, but mainly damaging winds and hail will be the main risks. Now, looking here at the NamNIS model, this is the model we look at here for kind of convection across these areas here. You can see kind of that cold front continuing to kind of push down to the south and east. And I think the NamNIS model does kind of reflect what my thinking is here pretty clearly as we head through the afternoon. This is around mid-afternoon, about 21Z here. Some showers and storms across southern Wisconsin. And as we head through the peak heating of the day, we start to see that frontal boundary here kind of sag south and eastward. And you have some storms kind of firing off here across eastern and central Illinois, and then higher coverage of that across northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and then southern lower Michigan as well. Again, just west of Detroit, back towards the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, South Bend, Gary, all these areas, and then back towards portions of eastern Illinois as well. But then as we kind of lose that peak heating and the sun does set, we start to lose the instability and all that energy out there in the atmosphere, and then the storms kind of start to kind of quiet down and kind of fizzle out. We still might have some storm activity, again, back in that marginal risk zone across, south of the Kansas City metro area, eastern Kansas, western Missouri, but I think this overall severe threat will start to wane and become more isolated, if anything else, here towards the evening and overnight hours on your Monday here today. Again, we are watching the threat for tornadoes. Supercell thunderstorms do produce tornadoes here, not always, but sometimes, and we definitely have to watch that. We're seeing the supercell composite values approaching here the middle of the road here on the scale, so we're definitely going to have to watch that as we head through the afternoon and evening here today ahead of that front. And then we have another severe risk. As we head into your Tuesday, we have a slight risk across New England here from portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, western Massachusetts, western and northwestern Connecticut, down through southern and eastern New York State, portions of northern New Jersey, and then eastern portions of Pennsylvania, and getting down towards the Maryland area, the Washington, D.C. area, getting up towards, Philadelphia, like I said, up close to the New York City area, and then that marginal risk kind of extending down kind of the spine of the Appalachians towards portions of, Charleston, West Virginia, the Richmond area, and then getting back into eastern portions of Kentucky as well. And then a smaller kind of area of some isolated strong to severe weather might be possible across northeastern Minnesota, getting into northern Wisconsin to the Eau Claire area, Wausau, getting down towards the Wisconsin Dells. That'll be something to watch here, and even the Duluth, Minnesota area as well as we head into your Tuesday afternoon and evening. Again, a 2% chance for a tornado across portions of interior New England here from eastern Pennsylvania and portions of Maryland, also all the way up here into northern New Jersey, southern and eastern portions of New York, as well as portions, of Vermont, New Hampshire, western Massachusetts, western portions there of Maine. So that'll be something to watch in addition to the damaging wind and hail threat. Again, I think the hail threat and the damaging wind threat will definitely be the largest risks on your Tuesday. But then here you can see, like I said, on your Tuesday, you can see all that heat ahead of that front here, all that heat continuing to push southward here ahead of that boundary. We have the hundreds continuing across Texas, getting into portions of northern Louisiana, southern portions of Arkansas, and portions there of even Oklahoma as well. A little cooler up to the north here. You can see portions of the Arrowhead of Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, really starting to cool down here on your Tuesday afternoon. In the wake of that front, temperatures might struggle to get into the 70s across some of those areas. So that'll be a refreshing cool down here from what you've seen as well. And then again, that will start to yield some instability with all that warm air ahead of that front here on your Tuesday across New England. And again, some scattered showers and storms will fire up during the peak heating of the day, mid to late afternoon. I could have some line segments in here with some strong damaging winds possibly, especially as you get up into eastern and southern New York State, getting into New Hampshire and Vermont as well. And then as we kind of lose lose the peak heating of the day and we kind of lose that, sunlight and all that energy out there, and the instability wanes, we definitely will start to kind of lose the coverage of storms into the evening hours here and overnight hours, as well as we head into the early portions of your Wednesday morning. We're not seeing much of anything across New England, maybe a couple scattered renegade showers and maybe sprinkles, but nothing here of any consequence by then. But as we head towards that time frame as well, again, with the Monday system here and then the Tuesday time frame as well, kind of with this cold front pushing from north to south, don't expect too much rainfall across portions of the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, or even the New England area. Just kind of a nuisance rainfall. You might get it, some may get it, some might not. Just kind of scattered about here. But if you do get under some rainfall, consider yourself lucky here, especially into the Corn Belt, where they definitely need the rain in Iowa and portions of Illinois, getting down in portions of Indiana as that drought starts to worsen across those areas, with moderate and even severe drought starting to develop across portions of eastern Illinois and western Indiana. So we'll have to watch that as well. And then going ahead towards your Wednesday afternoon, your Wednesday, July 13th, again, we're starting to build that heat back up across the western United States, getting up into portions of the northern Rockies, the northern plains, all the 90s, getting all the way up into southern and southwestern Canada. Still got those hundreds down into Texas, and still got those 110-degree readings or higher across the desert southwest from Arizona into southern California, southern portions of Nevada. And we'll look at this here with the European forecast model, kind of zooming out a little bit to show you here. I know I've talked about this before. It's called the squeeze effect. It's not called that, but that's just what I call it. It's just kind of as you kind of squeeze a water bottle, all that water kind of comes out the top of the water bottle. That's just kind of the same thing here with this. You have a strong trough across, southern portions here of the Alaskan coast, and that'll be kind of digging down at times here towards the Pacific Northwest. You got kind of more of a subtle trough across the eastern Great Lakes here into the northeast, and in between you have that very strong ridge, and that actually is kind of squeezing here this ridge farther north, these two troughs kind of working together. And you can kind of see that as we get towards the 15th, 16th time frame here of the month, and that will really start to squeeze that ridge here farther northward. We'll build that heat all the way up into southern Canada here, and that just only continues toward the 17th and even 18th time frame here this month as well. And you can see that here reflected on the European weather forecast model. You can see 90s all the way up into southern Canada, southern Manitoba, getting up into southeastern Saskatchewan, well up into the Dakotas here. Still got those hundreds down in the central and southern plains from North Texas all the way up into portions there of Kansas, Oklahoma, and perhaps Nebraska here as we get towards that Thursday time frame here on the 14th. That will continue as we head towards the 15th on your Friday. We've got widespread 100s from Texas all the way up into portions of Kansas and Nebraska here. The heat really building across the Rockies here and portions westward into the Intermountain West from Idaho all the way down into Nevada here. The desert Southwest very hot as well, and that will just continue here as we head toward the 16th time frame as well. The 16th of the month, we're definitely seeing widespread 100s here from Kansas City all the way southwest toward Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, lots of hundreds, even all the way up into even central Canada. We could be talking about near 90 in central portions of Saskatchewan, mid-80s to upper 80s across central and southern portions of Manitoba, Alberta getting very warm, upper 90s up into southern Alberta. So that is an impressive ridge that we'll be here talking about as well. So while we talk about all the heat and the energy out there, we definitely got to watch here what happens in the jet stream across the northern plains, the Great Lakes here, and the portions of the Ohio Valley. We always got to watch this jet stream, and where we have kind of the kinks or kind of curves in the jet stream, that kind of indicates, a trough or maybe some ripples of energy moving along in the atmosphere. One of these might be kind of rounding this ridge, as we call it here, as we get towards the end of this coming week. And we'll have to watch that across the upper Midwest here into portions of the Great Lakes as well, as we kind of have some stronger jet dynamics in the upper levels of the atmosphere here, kind of steering this a little farther from, northwest to southeast. And I think the first one will start to form across portions of Minnesota, getting into Wisconsin and perhaps northern Illinois, maybe even lower Michigan and Indiana and portions of Ohio. So that we'll be watching this and kind of fine-tuning it as we head towards the middle and end of this week. But again, that ridge will really dominate across portions of the Four Corners and central and southern plains with all that heat out there. So that is definitely something to watch. Again, if you have not liked my video, definitely like it below. Be sure to like it or give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions here below. I'll definitely be able to answer those when I can here as well. And as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, trying to get up to close to 300 subscribers. So definitely please help me out. I definitely appreciate that. And again, turn all your notifications on as well, as I will be going live here with the live stream later on today to cover the severe weather threat and another weather discussion. So thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful Monday out there.